Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the Sharia in the Quran. Muslims talk about the Sharia, non-Muslims talk about the Sharia. The propagandists against Islam talk about the Sharia. Islamophobes talk about the Sharia. You have many groups out there in the world that want to talk about the Sharia. What is the Sharia? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about the Sharia in the Quran? Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call the law that is given to the Prophet ﷺ the Sharia as well? All of these questions inshallah we'll answer today. You see, in some of the verses in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Israelites and He talks about the gift that He had been given to them of prophethood within their progeny and within their lineage and their people, and also the books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had granted them. And after speaking to them, Allah turns to the Prophet ﷺ and He says, ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاكَ عَلَى شَرِيعَةٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْرِ. Then we made you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we put you on a path of a great matter of religion. Sharia min al-amr. And He's talking about the religion in its entirety, and most specifically the law that Allah will be giving and gave to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But the unique thing is, He calls all of this Sharia. So what does this mean, and why is it called the Sharia? Well, originally they say that the word Sharia linguistically means a source of water. But Allah uses it in the Quran for law? Really? What's the correlation there? Well, when you drink water, what happens? You become satisfied. When you use water to clean, what happens? You become purified. So the Sharia does two things. It purifies you and it satisfies you. So whatever Allah has placed within the laws of His religion, they will purify you internally, they will purify you externally, they will make you a better person, they will uplift you. Just as the water cleans and purifies your clothes when you put it in the laundry, similarly, when you put yourself inside the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the religion that Allah gave to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will become purified and you will come out a better person. And similarly, just as when you take water and you drink it and you become satisfied, when you go into the Sharia and you literally absorb everything that the Sharia has to tell you, you end up becoming satisfied as well. And this is very important because there's a lot of people out there, they look for satisfaction in other than Islam. And sometimes also within the name of Islam as well. They say this is what Islam says, this is what Islam doesn't say. Even though Allah has sent us the Sharia, Allah has sent us the Quran and the Sunnah, and the Quran and Sunnah tell us what Islam actually says. And then someone comes and tells us another version of Islam. So that's not going to be satisfying. Even if it gives you a thrill essentially, it will not actually satisfy you in the long run. True satisfaction from Islam will come when we submit to the Sharia, the law that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. And when we submit to the Sharia, the religion in its entirety that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent and revealed. فَاتَّبِعَهَا. This is the Sharia, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, so follow the Sharia. Now, doesn't that change the entire conversation in terms of what the Sharia is? It went from being these harsh laws and people's hands being cut off and people being murdered and people being bombed, and the way they try to depict the Sharia without looking at the conditions, without looking at the circumstances, without looking at the larger picture, without looking at the fact that some people, they end up doing things in the name of the Sharia which the Sharia has nothing to do and so on, do with and so on and so forth. Without looking at all of those things, sometimes people, propagandists, Islamophobes, people who don't really want the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to spread, they will depict the Sharia in a very horrific way, in a very horrifying way. But when you look at it like this, that it's a beautiful source of water. It satisfies you. It gives you satisfaction. It satiates you. It's a source of water that purifies you, just as you use water to purify your clothes as well. So you come out of the Sharia, when you implement it, purified and satisfied. فَاتَّبِعْهَا. So follow it, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. When you think of it from this angle, the whole script becomes flipped. And you start to realize that the Sharia is actually a beautiful thing. It's not the way it was depicted. It's not the way people talked about it. It's not the way they show it in the media. It's not the way they address it. It's rather a very beautiful experience that leads to two beautiful things: satisfaction and also it gives you satiation as well. And in addition to that, purification as well. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And then Allah tells the Prophet ﷺ, now that I've given you a sharia which is satisfying and purifying, so don't follow the desires of those people who don't know. So when people bring their ignorance into Islam and they want to corrupt the religion through their ignorance, we say to them, keep your ignorance and keep your desires to yourself, because we have the sharia. It's more beautiful, it's more purifying, and it's more satisfying. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to find purity and satisfaction within the laws of Allah. Jazakumullahu khairan for listening. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een.